how you have helped a business leverage big data in ways they hadn't previously considered, resulting in unexpected benefits. I think you gave a quick example earlier, but this is specifically to elaborate it.
Well, I think from memory, the example I gave earlier was around electrical consumption data. So particularly in the rail space, electrical energy is a huge input, both in terms of cost and infrastructure and so on. So the example that I'll share is, again, with Metro Trains in Sydney is we are now in the process of ingesting a huge amount of electrical consumption data across many smart meters across their network, down to a number of seconds of consumption, broken down by I think it's about 5-second increments. And as you can appreciate, the volume of that data is quite colossal. But what we're now able to do is to do things like analysing usage patterns, such as energy volume, where it's being used, when the peaks and the troughs are. We can break it down by locations to understand high energy areas, energy use areas, and so on. So it's been a significant achievement to automate all of that ingestion to enable far more efficient ways of analysing the electrical consumption data. A very strong positive result of this, though, is we've now got the data from which we can now start to apply machine learning over that data. And what this has enabled us to do is to also combine that with other external data influences. So we can understand operationally now relationships between various other factors across the operational landscape that impacts and influences energy consumption. So that then speaks to things like being able to potentially adjust operational parameters to impact energy consumption, therefore obviously saving on money and emissions, by the way. Emissions are a big thing nowadays, and also leading to highly accurate forecasts on energy consumption. So in this case, we're sort of out 6-12 months into the future with some very highly accurate forecasting information. That then leads us to opportunities around, forward purchasing of energy and so on, which leads to, very commercially favourable opportunities and so on. And as I briefly mentioned, with the whole increasing focus on ESG generally in industry, but specifically in rail, I'm sure, we can forecast likely carbon emissions based on future energy consumption. You can very accurately forecast the carbon emissions. And that then allows you to start to look at things like supplementing renewables, where you may be over target or operationally looking at ways to adjust your operations to bring any future targets down to within the expected parameters and so on.